I feel as though in history, no, like as time goes on, Nolan Arenado is going to be forgotten, and I think it's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer that's just going to be forgotten in the wins. And it's just like when I feel like people my age and like a little bit older are going to look back and remember Nolan Arenado and remember how good he was, dude. Like, but I'll get into that in a bit. Right now it is July 16th, 2020 here in this quarantine. I'm James Sims. And for this episode of The Elite, I'm doing an elite profile on a player who I believe is very close to, I think is really close to being a GOAT. But to me, and to be fair to all the GOATs, he's got to win some MVPs, like, eventually. He's won basically everything but also he's in a situation with the Rockies. He hasn't won a championship either. No, but he's basically won everything else, and I'll get into it in a bit. So if you're unaware of Nolan Arenado, of course, he's a 29-year-old third baseman from Newport Beach. He currently plays for the Colorado Rockies. He was originally drafted in the 59th overall pick in the 2009 draft. Took him a second to get all the way up, but he finally made it through at 2013. He debuted his age 22 season for the Colorado Rockies, and in that first season, he played 133 games. He finished with 130 hits, not as many hits as games, but that's still really impressive. Finished with 29 doubles in those games, 10 home runs, 52 RBIs, the like. He did finish with the Gold Glove at third base in his very first season in his first season in Colorado, and I imagine it's very difficult to get a Gold Glove to be rated the best out of 15 third basemen at 22 in his very first season in the league. That season, the Rockies finished last in the NL West. They had 98 losses that year. But Arenado was definitely on the map of baseball fans. Baseball fans started to see okay, no, this dude can play some baseball. His second year in the league, his age 23 season. He played 111 games that season. He finished with 124 hits in those 111 games, 34 doubles, 18 home runs, 61 RBIs, of course, all career highs. Batting .287. He finished with his second Gold Glove, but nothing else. But up until then, he was in his first two seasons in the league. He had already established himself as the best, at least defensive third baseman in all of baseball. In 2015, his third year in the league, Nolan Arenado would play 157 games. He would finish with 177 hits, significantly more hits than games in a full season played. He finished with 43 doubles, 42 home runs, and he led the league in home runs. He led the league in home runs with 42. He led the league in RBIs with 130. He only walked 34 times. Oof. But still, he finished with a .287 batting average, .323 OBP, slugging percentage, .575. Even after all that, he was still only eighth in the MVP voting. I imagine it was because the Rockies finished last in the NL West. That makes sense. He still finished that was the first time he was an All-Star. He was named a Gold Glove for the third year in a row, and then he was named a Silver Slugger for the first time. That's the first time he led the league in home runs and RBIs. He is one of the few players that can walk the earth that said, I led the National League in home runs and RBIs in the same season, or back-to-back seasons, because he did it in his next year too. In 2016, his age 25 season, his fourth year in the league. He played 160 games. He finished the season with 182 hits. He had 116 runs on the season, finishing with 35 doubles, 41 home runs, leading the league yet again, leading the league with RBIs with 133. With a .294 average, .362 OBP, leading the league in total bases for the second year in a row. Once again, he was named an All-Star. He was a Gold Glover and a Silver Slugger and fifth in the MVP race. But yet again, this is in back-to-back years, this dude combined for 83 home runs and 263 RBIs. In 320 games. That's an absurd amount of home runs and RBIs. So that back-to-back season cemented him as an elite all-time player, or as an elite player that at least represented this era. And at least by now, he's still 4 for 4 with Gold Gloves. And of course, that's what happened though. In his age 26 season in 2017, He ended up playing 159 games. He ended up with 187 hits in those 159 games, the most he's ever had up until that point. He led the league in doubles with 43. He finished with 37 home runs, 130 RBIs for the third consecutive year. I don't care if it's in Denver. I don't care that the ball carries further and farther in Denver. I don't care if his splits skew way higher at home. He still did it. He still stepped up to the plate and he still connected the ball to the bat and got 37 home runs and 130 RBIs. He had a 309 batting average, and even then, the Rockies were third in the NL West, and they lost in the wild card to the Diamondbacks. But that year, Nolan Arenado he finished fourth in the MVP voting. He was a Gold Glover and a Silver Slugger, right? Going on to his age 27 year, of course, another year in which another year in which Arenado just completely picks off him where he left off. That year, he played 156 games. He ended up finishing with 175 hits, 104 runs. He had 100 runs for the third straight season. He had 38 doubles. He led the league with 38 home runs. He had 110 RBIs. He finished with a 297 batting average. He finished third in MVP voting, and he was an All-Star for the fourth year in a row. He was a Silver Slugger for the fourth year in a row. He was a Gold Glover for the sixth year in a row since he's gotten to the league. He's been the best defense up until this point. He's been the best shortstop but I'll continue because, of course, it continues on to this year. This past season, in his age 28 season, right after he signed the contract, because he did sign a long-term contract with Colorado, he played 155 games. He finished with 185 hits in those games. He finished with 102 runs. The fourth straight season, he finished with 100-plus runs, 31 RBIs. Every single season in his career, he's had at least 29 in 7 seasons. He finished with 41 home runs, 118 RBIs, a 315 batting average, 379 OBP, but still. He finished with an All-Star. He wasn't a Silver Slugger. He was a Gold Glover for the 7th year in a row, and he was 6th in the MVP voting. So, and of course with all that, the year prior, the Rockies did kind of make it into the playoffs. They had a couple playoff runs. But when you look back, if you look at a player such as Arenado, he's a 29-year-old third baseman that has been the best third baseman in baseball, or at least the best third baseman in the National League since he's been in the league at 22. He runs that he runs that position on defense. He knows that he knows that he's the best. He plays like he's the best, and he delivers like he's the best. Nolan Arenado is one of the cream of the crop players that will define third base for years to come. And he's hopefully he doesn't fade, because I'm going to remember his seasons. And I know that even fans of teams that play in the NL West are aware of what Arenado is capable of. And who knows, and with this current situation, I like the Rocky situation for this season, but I can't imagine he's going to stay there for much longer. I've heard that he wants out of Colorado, and with this short season, considering everyone wants to win right now, there's going to be a team that pulls the trigger on a 1 year or half a year, a 30-game contract for Nolan Arenado, and that team's going to end up making probably the best decision they've ever had. Nolan Arenado has been an all-star since his third year in the league, and since he's been in the league, he's been the best defensive third baseman in all of baseball. As of right now, I would definitely consider him elite. I consider him cream of the crop elite. The only thing I feel that he's missing at this point in his career is an MVP. He gets scarily close, but 1 year he has to go to a team that wins and then eventually do it. I want to see Nolan Arenado go to a different team and win. But of course, he has a lot of years left he has a lot of years left in his career for him to be amazing. And there's nothing that he's done in recent years that has shown me he's going to drop off anytime soon. So when I'm serious when I say Nolan Arenado is probably the most elite third baseman that I've seen that isn't Chipper Jones that I've seen. I like what he does. I really think that he is one of the few players you can say he's two-way elite, and you know it. You know for a fact he's guaranteed to get the Gold Glove and probably the Silver Slugger, depending on how many home runs he gets every year. That's the type of player Nolan Arenado is, and whatever team he decides to play with the rest of his life, they're going to be a very happy organization. Thanks once again for listening to all 10 minutes of this. I mean, if you really get a chance, check out my boy Nolan Arenado. He currently wears number 28 on the Colorado Rockies. He plays third base, and I promise you, I feel bad for every third baseman in the National League that has aspirations for winning the Gold Glove anytime soon. With that, and with that said, I want you to watch him play. I want you to see him make. I want you to watch a Colorado Rockies game because one or two balls will be hit to him. Ask yourself, do other third basemen make defense look this easy? And at the same time, even if the third baseman is that good, like Matt Chapman good, is he consistently hitting 35, 40 plus home runs and 120, 115 plus RBIs on any given season? Colorado or not, those numbers are still listed under Nolan Arenado. So with that said, gotta say it. Watch out for Nolan. Peace.